Hello and welcome to Easy Maths. In today's lesson, we're going to look at completing square. This is the second lesson, and in other lessons, we're going to look at the objectives that are appearing on the screen there. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll appreciate. And so let's move straight to completing square. As a start of this, I'm going to say some 2 points which I find necessary. The first one, whenever you're given a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, that's a perfect square expression like that, you can factorize it to this particular form. Just to observe the similarity between the expression before and the expression after the equal sign. This a squared, if you find the square root, you get a. The sign of the middle term plus is the one I have here, and the square root of b squared is this one here. So please, they are written in that particular way. And similarly, for this second expression here, where the difference between the first and this other one here is the signs of the middle term here and the sign between a, b, they become negative in both cases here. The square root of a squared is a. The sign of the middle term is negative, we have it here. The square root of b squared is b there, and therefore, please take note of that. The second point, the second term of perfect squares is normally given by 2 times the square root of the first and the third terms. That means for an expression ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are numbers, they're numbers actually, only that a is not a 0, then b, this second term, coefficient of the second term, should be given by 2 times the square root of the first and the last, that's ac. And so let's attempt questions to use these concepts. And the first question is x squared plus 14x plus a third term that's not given. Let's approach the question this way. First of all, we replace the third term, which we don't know, with a c, and equate that expression to x plus m, and that one there is squared. I've put the middle sign here to be positive because of the positive that I have here. Now we're going to progress as follows. First of all, expand after the equal sign, the x plus m squared, which gives us this. After that, we equate the expression we had at the beginning, this one, with the expression we just obtained. And after that, we equate the second terms, the 14x and the 2xm, which we have there, to help us get the value of m. Divide both sides by 2x and you get m is 7. And therefore, since c, this c here, is the same as m squared, this c is same as m squared, therefore our c is actually 49. That is 7 squared. We could approach the same question differently. We use this second way of operating, where we put b is equals to 2 times square root of ac, where b, a, and c are coefficients of the second, first, and third terms respectively. So replacing the values, b is 14, that is the coefficient of the second term here. This a was 1, that is the coefficient of x squared. We don't know what c is, so just simplify this to get the value of c. You get 7 is equal to square root of c, and c is 49. This answer is identical to what we got using the other method there. We move on to another question. We have x squared minus 22x plus a third term that's not included. The difference between this question and the first one is that the middle term here is positive, this time round it's negative. Now we're going to replace a third term c with a c, since we don't know what it is, and equate that expression to x minus m squared. Now notice that when we have negative for the middle term here, we have negative between x and m, which is opposite of what we have here. Now expand the x minus m squared, which gives us this sort of a thing. And then we equate the expression we had with what we just obtained, and go on to equate the second terms, the minus 22x and the 2xm, that particular way. We want to find the value of m, so divide both sides by 2, negative 2x, which gives us m is 11. And since we know that c is m squared, we say that in the previous question, it means that c must be 121, which is the square of 11. Attempting it in a different way, we use the expression b is equals to 2 square root of ac, replacing the b is negative 22 and a is 1 and c is c. We don't know what c is. You just move on and get c is 121. Moving on to another question. This time round, we are given an expression which does not have a first term. Now, we're going to approach it this way. I'm going to replace the first term, or let the first term be n squared k squared. Now, in the question we're given, the unknown we the unknown we have is not an x, it's a k. And therefore, for the first term of a quadratic equation to be, for an equation to be quadratic, the first term must have a square of 2. That's k must be raised to power 2. And I've just put an n and squared it so that this, all of it will be square, so that it's a perfect square. Now I'm going to equate that to another bracket there, which is nk plus 2 squared. Now, according to what we said at the beginning, the first note there, which was written in two different ways, please notice that the square root of n squared k squared is nk. The sign of the middle term is positive, so I'll put positive there. The square root of 4 is 2, so I have it that particular way. And therefore, expanding this one, this bracket there, gives us this. You're going to say, therefore, that the expression we had at the beginning, this expression here, must be what we've just got. And that time we say 2k, the second term here, must be 4nk, the second term after the bracket. And therefore, we want to solve the value of n by dividing both sides by 4k. We get n is half. Therefore, n squared must be a quarter. Therefore, the expression we were not given here was n squared k squared, and the n squared is a quarter, so it's actually a quarter k squared. That person should have put here a quarter k squared to make it a perfect square. The other approach is we use the expression we have been using in the previous two questions, b is equals to 2 square root of ac, replacing. Now we have the first time we don't have, the second and third we have 2 and 4 respectively, so I have 2 for b and 4 for c, but a is unknown, so progressing we get a is a quarter, which I've just got there. Please notice that n is half. N squared is a, and equals to a quarter, and there it is. Let's move on to a fourth question. Again, we have a question on the screen there. The first term is not given, and we replace it with n squared x squared, and factorizing this one according to what you've said in the previous in the opening note. The square root of these expressions factorized would be nx minus 9. The reason is the square root of the first term is nx, the sign of the middle term is minus, the square root of the 81 is 9. Therefore, it's just going to be this particular way, which will expand to get this. And having expanded, we equate the two equations, sorry, the two expressions, this expression and the other one there. So we just get this expression must be equal to the other one there, and equating the two middle terms, minus 18x must be the same as minus 18nx. And you see the way it appears there, n must be 1, and therefore what we were not given, that is n squared x squared, was just x squared. The reason is n is 1, so if you square n, that is square 1, you get 1, but 1 times x squared is just x squared, therefore that's how it is. The other approach should give us the same answer, so we have b is equals to 2 square root of ac, replacing the value of b to be 18, that's what we were given. The c is 81, we were given that, we don't know the value of a, just move on, you get the value of a is 1. You can slow the video in case I'm too fast. Second last question, we have an expression before us here, the middle term is not given, and this is now easy to operate even because of the concept that I said at the beginning. We could just replace the middle term with a bx. We don't know what b is, and that's what we're looking for anyway, but because of what we're given here, this expression factorized to be 4x plus 6. The 4x is the square root of 16x squared, the plus is the sign of the middle term, and the 6 is the square root of 36, and therefore we have it that way. And this one we could expand to get this kind of a thing, and then equating. Now I'm not going to explain what the scenes there says, it's just what I've said there, that a plus b squared must be the same as that one there. Let me not explain that anymore. So we're going to say that 16x squared plus bx plus 36, that one there, must be what we just obtained after expanding the 4x plus 6 squared, which is that one there. And that definitely tells us that what the person did not put here was a 48x. In other words, b is 48. Alternatively, we use this other method. We'll write b is equals to 2ac. Now, the only thing we don't have in that expression is a b. We have the a and the c. The a is 16, we were given the coefficient of the first term, and the c is 36. So Again, you get that answer there is 48, and that's identical to what we got there. The last question, we have an interesting one there. The middle term again is not given, so we progress by replacing the middle term with bx. Factorization of this one, it should give us the square root of 1 over 64x squared, which is an eighth x. The sign of the middle term will be negative, so we put an eighth x minus then the square root of a quarter, which is what we have there. So please notice that 1 over 8x is square root of this one. The sign of the middle term is what we have there, and the square root of a quarter is half, and that's what we have there. So expand it, you get this sort of a thing, and it's obvious. We're going to say that bx, that's what the person did not give at the middle here, was just an eighth x. Okay. The alternative method, we put the values that particular way. We have a and c, we don't have b, therefore replacing a 64th and a quarter, multiply together, find the square root of that, the answer will be an eighth, and so we've got an identical answer. Having that said, we're done with that particular part of completing square. However, I want to give you a challenge. Please test yourself by these 3 questions. We have that question there, look for the middle term. There's another question there, look for the last term. And there's another one there, look for the first term. And the answers are these ones here. They are not arranged in any order, so look out for what answer you get for whatever question. Again, I must say, please check out for the next lesson. It will be solution by completing square method. So we'll be taking the concept of completing square now to another application. Thank you.